about now, Jay. C-Dub on the beat. Back against the wall, CL20's knocking rated. IGI's tripping, validated, shoot.
Hey, yo, what's good with everybody, man? I hope everybody's having a productive day. Feeling blessed, and like I always say, it's one life, one chance. We only got one chance to do this right. Let's get it done. So with that being said, got another video for you. One of my homeboys shared one of his stories, so I want to tell it to you guys. With that being said, hit that subscribe button, hit that like, always leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Check the links in the description for my Apple and Spotify music. Go ahead and run my streams up, and you can check out my playlist section on my YouTube channel and check out my music right there. Thank you guys for you guys' time. Most important, thank you guys for you guys' support. Now, this video is about an interesting character, an old school veterano, old school emero dropout. That's what they call him. You know, to me personally, dropout or not, dude did what he did back in the day. Whether he told or not, still caught some bodies. So, hey, it is what it is. So I had a homie. He was barely crossing over on the SNY side. And he landed in the orientation building. And in that building, he was waiting to get transferred to the yard. He already had been meeting a couple of homeboys, this, and that. And he knew a building that he wanted to go. But he was by himself in the cell. But he had a vecino. His vecino was Angel Stump Valencia from Sangra. They said he had a body shape like Pop, big old arms from the boxing days, but he had a big old belly with Sangra across it. He was an old school homie, old school old dude, man, hella OG. But the homie didn't know him at the time that was his neighbor. He didn't know who he was, period. So the homie's asking the cop, like, hey, bro, hey, I'm trying to make it to this building right here. Can I get, my orientation's done. I already went to classification. I'm just waiting for a bed. Is there a way you can assist me to move me to that building? See, on the SNY and on the main line, most of the time they won't move you into an empty cell in another building. It's pointless. It defeats the purpose. Now, if there's an empty cell and you have a cellie, they can move you the whole cell into that cell and get this cell available for new orientation inmates. But they're not going to move you, or unless there's somebody that doesn't have a cellie, or they can move you straight in there and it opens up a cell. Prison administration is real picky about that. So they're like, yeah, bro, if you can find a cellie so that way we can open up one of these cells, we'll move you over there to your homeboy's building. So he was like, oh, so what if I just ask my neighbor? I think my neighbor's single cell. And he was like, go ahead and ask. I'll be back in a couple minutes to see your guys' answer. So he hops on the van and is like, hey, vecino, hey, mucho gusto. And I'm going to introduce myself. I'm such and such, such and such. I'm an ex-norteño. You want to sell up, bro? That way we can get up out of here. Because orientation, sometimes you can go in a week or it takes 30 days. And when you're on an orientation cell, dude, you ain't got no access to your property whatsoever until you finally make it out of orientation and get into one of these other buildings. So people are trying to get up out of there fast, bro, real fast. So Angel gets on the van. He's like, hey, man, they call me Stump. I'm an ex-carna. So the homie kind of was like, all right, whatever, bro. Like, it's all good, bro. Do you want to sell up or not so we can get up out of here? And when we get where we're going, I'll sell up with one of my homies and you find a cellie and then we'll part ways. But let's just do ourselves the favor. Let's sell up so we can get up out of here. Stump agrees to it. So they sell up. Bam, tie the hura puts in the move, and they get moved. So the homie's where he wants to be with all the homies. And he's chilling, but now he's like, I'm going to get to know the dude for a little while. It's going to be a little bit, maybe a couple of weeks till he finds a cellie. It sucks, but in prison, nobody, like I said in my last video, nobody wants to sell it but the older cats, bro. Plain and simple. Stuck in their ways, old school mentality. Some of them got just the old school morality, bro, that you can learn from, but some youngsters don't care about that. So it kind of sucks for the older generation, man. I hate that. That's the part I hate. I didn't mind selling up with the older homies, whatever. So he's getting to know, dude, when you first meet somebody, first you check paperwork, and after that, you pretty much, catch up on these life stories. You trade war stories. You hear each other's lives out. Well, you already know Angel Stump Valencia. He went to YA for a hot one. He actually pulled out a metal flat and a metal knife, and I guess his dad was beating on his mom. He booked his dad at one point in time. They had this 7-up policy where it's like back then they weren't giving you life or giving you strikes. You committed a crime, 7 years easy. You can get out in 7 years even on a hot one. So he already had been out, came back in. He has done his thing. He was like the old laws, bro. But the old laws were in effect. That's when he was going in and out of the penal system, right? Like I said, he caught a body to go to YA, got out, came to the pen, got out, caught another body, came back. He was only doing a little bit of time. And so he's getting to know he's getting to know the homie. And the homie's tripping out like, bro, I ain't never seen an ex at metal before. So getting to know this dude was kind of cool, but I was kind of standoffish, bro, because I didn't know his get down, bro. You know, as Norteños, we're brainwashed, and we have this perception about enmeros, period, that automatically they're basura, they're trash, they're deemed, they're scandalous, they're dope fiends, this and this and that. So he didn't know how to accept this individual for who he was now. He kept thinking about dude's past, but he still got along with the individual, right? They'd work out together, but spread together. But he said that Angel in the morning, wake up straight to his legal work. He didn't turn on the TV all day until like the afternoon, and he tripped out on that. He'd be up there watching his stuff, and homeboy right there be on the desk. So one day he was like, "Man, what's up? What kind of legal work do you do?" What happened was he got a discovery pack because a bunch of people back in the day, a couple of NFers, ABers, and some BGFs, all snitched on him that he for a hot one that happened in the penal system back in the days. So he was appealing that case. He was going through the trials and the Court of Appeals. So he had the debriefing package of all these individuals because he was fighting this case. He was entitled to it per the discovery. So the homie's like, all right, cool. So he started reading it, right? Reading all these debriefing packages that were on Stump. And he was tripping out like, damn, fool, they made this fool sound like a straight stone cold killer. Like he's been known to whack fools on a tier, take fools out undercover, multiple bodies. But he's also said that Angel Stump Valencia had other people's discovery packets and debriefing packets. Now he knows that dude debriefed because he went through the THU, and that's the only way you can get out of the THU is if you debrief on the Mexican Mafia or the NF or the AB. They want those 4 organizations. They don't care about none of the other small groups. They want those organizations. So he knew dude debrief, but he was like, man, this fool had access to a bunch of other people's debriefing packets, like NF members that had nothing to do with him being accused of this particular murder, this hot one that he did back in the day. He actually had the debriefing packets of all kinds of people, boxers, Mundos, Lucky Sheldon's debriefing packet. He said a gang of he said NF members' names that he never even heard of from back in the day. That fool had access to his debriefing packets. And he wasn't sure why, but he was reading through them, and he was like, bro, he was just tripping out on all the stuff that they were telling on back in the day, what they had access to, what they were taking control over on the streets, like nonprofit organizations, different lawyers, at-risk youth programs, everything, bro. And he was like, he would get stuck on those debriefing packets, and Angel was like, here, fool, you can read it. But Angel focused on his legalities, his legal work, right? And then he told the homeboy this crazy story. He said, back in the day, basically he got life now for a hot one he did in the penal system, right? He said back in the day he was neighbors with another Amero, and he was on the yard with Alfredo, Alfie SOSA, some little Mexican Mafia member who's notorious for bodies and everybody. I've seen his name on YouTube. Everybody's painting a picture like this dude has bodies. He's ruthless. He has a thirst for violence, a thirst for bloodshed, a thirst for politics. Very scandalous individual. So he was on the yard with him too. But he said that his neighbor, an Amero, had a punk in the cell. And it wasn't against the rules, but it was frowned upon at the time. And this was in Old Folsom. So they actually were like, they were approaching this Amero like, hey bro, that was coming to a stop, like all the homosexual activity stuff, and they were like, hey bro, you got to get him out of here. But it was Alfie that approached his neighbor, and Stump was right there. And Alfie was talking to the Amero and just telling him like, hey fool, you got to cut that stuff short, or that's it, you're through, y'all stuvo. And that Amero, which was his neighbor, slapped Alfie in the face. Alfie didn't do nothing. So it got to a vote. And the vote was, they actually voted for Angel Stump Valencia to blast his neighbor. So Angel he wasn't tripping, but he was mad like, hey bro, how come you're making me do it just because he's my neighbor? But you guys, you're not going to have Alfie do it when he's the one that got slapped by this dude. But the votes came in unanimously that Stump needed to do it. So Stump said, all right, I'll take care of it, but I want you guys to blast Alfie for that, for getting slapped in the face and not doing nothing about it. And he said the Carnales actually told him, yeah, we're going to take care of him afterwards, but we need this fool gone. That's against the rules now. So Angel makes a little piece, the best piece he can come up with, blasts his old boy like 7 times. And that was the same year that the 7-Up law, whatever he was talking about, it was gone. They dismantled it and they were doing the 3 strikes and everything. And he wound up catching all this time for that hot one right there. So he goes to Ad Say, realizes that, you know, he sacrificed it all. Now he ain't going home on that 7-Up law, or yeah, that whatever that law was back in the day. I'm pretty sure you guys are educated and you know about it. So he was pretty much gone, bro. There was no chance at freedom no more, like how he used to do it. How he used to go in and out of the penal system. He was done. This was his life for the rest of his life. But he said he sat there in that seg waiting patiently for them to blast Alfie, and they never did. They just swept it under the rug. Yeah, that Meadow that was his neighbor was gone, and I remember he was saying that he took care of business. So now he was expecting his brothers to take care of business. Nothing happened. Now this is his story. He's telling to his, the homie that was his cellie at the time, and he was like, forget it, bro. And he hung up the gloves and he started debriefing and went SNY, and now he's chilling doing the rest of his time. So the homie was tripping out on that story, like, all right, bro, that's cool, that's what's up, bro, that's what's up. And he got familiar with the dude, but he kept his distance. He knew the dude admitted that he debriefed. A lot of people on the SNY frown on people that go to the TSU and debrief, but it's like, we understand. But it's like there's people you just don't really trust. I get how it sounds, but that's just, they're not treated any different now. If you're on the SNY and you're found out that you're dropping kites on people on the SNY, or you told in your case, it's funny how that's different. If your paperwork says you told on your co-defendants, bro, it's bad. It's really bad, because some people won't be your cellies, but some people will just blast you. Some people will take off on you on the cell on the SNY. Some people don't. There's variations that happen that take place on the SNY. So the homie's keeping his distance, but he's still cool with the individual. But one day, Angel goes to CTC, then comes back, and then on another occasion, he's gone all day, and the homie was tripping out, like, what? Why is this? The only time you're gone from 8 in the morning to like 5 at night is when you go to court. So the homie was like, man, I wonder what the hell, is this fool talent or something? Like, I know he has a medical condition and he's dying, I think it was dialysis or something, but the homie was just like, wow, well, he's been gone way too long, bro, for a medical trip. So when Angel comes back, the homie played it off, but he did it subliminal, like, damn, fool, like, what's up, fool? Like, where you at, man? Were you talent or something? Or well, you've been gone for a minute. Said it as a joke. And Angel confessed right then and there. I don't know if he felt threatened by the homie's presence. The homie was younger, way bigger than Angel, but Angel was like, hey, remember when I went out to CTC the other day? And he was like, yeah, I remember. He goes, yeah, the detectives actually came and talked to me. And they asked me to talk about, they wanted me to testify on Lalo from Lomas' case. And the homie was like, what? He goes, testify on what? And he was like, nah, they want me to go in there and testify that the dude that sponsored Lalo, I sponsored that individual to validate that Lalo is actually, in fact, a Mexican mafia member. And that the detectives said they're going to hook him up. They're going to bless him. They're going to look out for him. So the homie was like, damn, bro, where'd you go today? And Angel says, oh, I went to court. I testified. Now, I read the article, and it was actually Stump and Enrique Boxer Enriquez, that actually testified on Lalo's trial, the one about the murder that I had got wrong in the previous video, testified on that. So the homie got mad and he was like, hell nah, bro, you over here just telling you and myself? And the homie takes care of business on this old man. Not to the extent to hurt the dude, but just to give the dude the message like, bro, you can't be in this cell no more. And they wound up parting ways, and he never heard about Angel Stump again. And when the homie left, he couldn't figure it out. He was like, bro, how this fool this whole time, like, I gave him the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, you debriefed. I get that. Now you have your life to live. You're away from that. But willingly to go testify on somebody else's court that you have nothing, no information, nothing a part of, but you're doing it because you want to be privileged to certain privileges as an inmate, like extra food, a job, a little bit of money from the district attorney or the cops. The cops said they were going to pay him off and hook him up, and the institution was going to look out for him. That's why Angel did it. That's why he testified on Lalo de Lomas' case, just to get a little extra privileges in prison. And the homie couldn't stand that. He didn't like that fact. So, he took care of his business, did what he had to do, and got him up out of there. And I do understand where the homie was coming from. But the part that my homie kept telling me is like, bro, I just never understood. Now I get it. He had all those debriefing packets because I think they were coaching him on how to debrief on somebody else. Even though he was getting debriefed on and he was fighting it in appeals, I think they were actually molding him for this particular reason, because as soon as Lalo from Lomas wound up facing trial for a murder, they were quick to call him like, hey, bro, we need you to testify on this, and this, and this. And those debriefing packets were pretty much like instructing them and then demonstrating for him how to do it. Kind of like, you know, molding them to become an expert witness in like future Mexican mafia cases like Boxer used to do. The story's a trip, right? But like I said, that's what Angel told the homie. The homie told me. So I'm not going to sit here and really validate the fact that Angel said that Alfie got slapped by another Red Meadow. That's something that happened back in the day. I'm just telling the story the way it was told to me. So with that being said, like I always say, it's one life, one chance. When they got one chance to do this right, let's get it done. Peace.